what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak. And politicians, no one's willing to step up and speak.
LifestyleRadio.ca.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
And we're always live here at the front window of Canada Days in downtown Campbellford. And always, I'm Al Graham. Tonight, my joint host is Northern Ontario Kim Cooper. And our guest tonight is a person who helps and teaches patients about cannabis alternatives and someone I'll call a cannabis infusion expert, plus much more. So, but before we bring her in, we're going to talk. Kim and I are going to have a bit of some news talk. We always like to share some news with our listeners. Right, Kim? Oh, seems maybe Kim's mic is muted.
Kim is having mic issues.
Kim is having mic issues. There you go. We heard it right from yourself. Heard it right from you yourself. So your mic worked that time, Kim. Okay, well, I'm sure she's working away trying to get that fixed. And in the meantime, I'll talk a little bit about the news, and hopefully Kim can get her mic fixed and join in here. Today, the Ontario government released some more information on their cannabis legalization plan. And there was a few things that I was going to touch on with Kim, and we may still be able to do that. Let's see. Interesting.
Let's try this.
Okay, well, that's working. Yeah, we just spent a few minutes talking before the show, and everything was fine.
I know. I'm having an issue now. I don't understand why, and my spare headset is out with my friend at the moment. So
okay, well, it's working right now, anyways.
Perfect. Okay. I'm not going to move.
Okay. Don't move. Okay. Yeah. It says. Some people were talking about before this legislation came out, they were worried that people wouldn't be able to consume cannabis in the public, and we'd only be restricted to consuming cannabis within our homes.
And apparently that is the case.
That's right. It says no person shall consume cannabis in a public place, a workplace, a vehicle, a boat. Now, some people wondered what effect that would have on the medical consumer.
Yeah.
And just so you know, the medical people will still be allowed to consume their cannabis in public. But what they will be required to do is, if they're questioned by authority, will have to show their ID, their MMAR stuff, or their ACMR paperwork, or their licensed producer.
You're a patient. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
You got to come up with whatever documentation you fall under, whatever category that may be. But whatever means you're using to be legal, you better be able to prove it.
Correct. Now, and basically, they would fall under what they're presently under, which is the Tobacco Act, where we can only smoke wherever, or only medicate where people smoke cigarettes or tobacco.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where patients fall under, which is whole thing is just ridiculous. Yes. I mean, here you can have this, but you're not allowed to do it anywhere. Pretty soon apartment buildings will be enacting regulations and rules that tenants are going to be forced to sign on to. Condo acts are already happening to stop people from consuming it in the condos upon purchase of a condo.
Apartments.
Apartments. I mean, so where are all of these products going to be consumed?
Forcing people to go outside, because I know in the condos they're talking about the smoke of people smoking joints is going through the walls.
That's what they're saying. What they're saying. It comes through the walls and it interferes with the way of life and so forth. Lots of big issues here. Lots of big issues that need to be addressed. Vapor lounge, nowhere to be seen.
No, not yet. I know in the past they've mentioned that. I know in the past they mentioned they want to do more studies on that. Yeah.
I mean, how long can you argue with a wall before you just begin to either laugh or lose your ever-loving mind?
You just start bouncing your head off the wall going, oh.
Yeah. Like how long do you continue to...
Now, they also, you know how you have your, with booze, they can't have booze accessible to the driver in a car.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing with cannabis. No person shall drive or have care or control of a vehicle, whether it's in motion or not, if cannabis is in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Now,
so you got it on, you better put it in the trunk, the same as the box.
It says it has to be in a fastened, closed container or not readily available to the person in the vehicle, to any person in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So, basically, you got to put it in the trunk. Put that little quarter bag in the trunk. It's dangerous to society.
And again, you're going to run into medicinal use.
Because
that's fair. I mean, for me, panic attacks is one of the reasons that I use this. When I'm in a vehicle and that vehicle is in motion, if something happens on the road because of my motor vehicle accident being a traumatic effect on me, that's when I have my reaction. There's no time to pull over on the 400.
No, there's not. It's not a good spot to pull over on the 400 either. No.
So, and I'm not the driver, I'm the passenger. I'm in the back.
Just so you know, that baggie, it has to be in the trunk whether you're a medical user or not, because I don't see no exception in here on the regulations for that.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're using it for a panic attack, which is taking place inside the vehicle, your medication in the trunk is not doing that patient any good.
Mm-hmm.
So now what?
Yeah. Well, now what exactly?
There's way too many now whats. They can't, and that's the issue, because we've never had something being rolled out for recreational use that is also a prescription.
Correct.
This is happening simultaneously, and this has never happened in history. So nobody knows what the hell to do.
No, that's right. They don't. It's
going to have to just keep rolling forward and
and it's going to take court challenges one after the other in order to make things change, unless for some reason the government opens their eyes and sees that there is a problem that they see that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, that's right. And the problem is, my biggest issue with all of it is, I know patient rights and patient responsibilities and patients everything is the thing that's going to pay the price and suffer.
Yeah. Well, medical cannabis patients, they won't be able to consume in enclosed public places, enclosed workplaces, schools, childcare centers, reserved seating areas of sporting events.
So now they're talking about the boxes at the ACC party, right?
Or like in Peterborough, they have Del Curry Park where they have live bands every Wednesday and Saturday nights. Yeah, they have a reserved seating. It's not a sporting event though. Sporting arenas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Concerts, right? Getting concerts.
Concerts. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and it says that no one shall do any of the following in a motor vehicle, and that's smoke medical cannabis, have lighted medical cannabis, use electronic cigarette containing mechanical or medical cannabis, or have an activated electronic cigarette containing mechanical medical cannabis.
See, now this is an infringement on a patient's right to consume their prescribed medication. How can they possibly get away with this?
It's going to be interesting.
It is.
Yes. Okay, now over to the next news article. And quickly here, we are going to talk about Dana Larson's court case.
Yeah. It's being adjourned, I guess. Well, they're on a break right now. It's not concluded as of yet. We're waiting for a judge's decision. Basically, they've made a couple of arguments. They're going to wait for a judge's decision. Depending on that judge's decision, we'll state whether or not the charges are fully withdrawn or Dana goes back to court to complete the trial.
I see he's posted the last 2 days on his Facebook wall. Kirk Toussaint has been there. Jack Lloyd.
Yeah, lots of great lawyers speaking to Dana cause here. For those that may be unaware, I don't see who, but in case you are unaware, Dana Larson gives away seeds through the cannabis seed distribution through Canada to Overgrow Canada campaign. At one of his stops in Calgary in 2016, he was arrested for giving away low THC, high CBD marijuana seeds. Now he is in court on those charges. Kirk Toussaint is his lead counsel, with Jack Lloyd taking his side. Court is going well. They've put forth a few arguments regarding the timing of the trial, how long it took to get to trial, and now that the Crown is asking for an adjournment until May 2018, they're arguing that's too long. So the charges should be withdrawn on the basis that it took too long to come to trial. So in the event that they go back to court, they will be going, if the judge says, no, I disagree with that, this trial is going to continue, then they will be going back to court in May on 2018, and they'll be arguing the point on whether it's constitutional or not to prohibit the sale or giving away of low THC cannabis seeds. And that will be his defense then.
Now, what evidence do they have? Like, they don't have any seeds.
Well, yeah, they confiscated all of his seeds. So
well, Dana's got a post. Dana's got a post here where he says one interesting point. When he was first arrested, he had 5 cannabis seeds in his hand, and they put them in an evidence bag, and they gave them back to him.
Oh, well then.
Yeah,
when I was no evidence.
Unless they have another bag of seeds.
I have no idea. That's new to me.
Yeah, he's got it on his Facebook.
Right? Because they took the whole van or something, or other boxes, I think. But I could be mistaken. It may be that they have no evidence.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. That's news to me. But I know that they're arguing on the pretense that it was low THC cannabis seeds, and the Crown is not arguing that fact. They've submitted, yes, they were low THC. They've conceded to that fact. Now, how they know that is impossible. They don't know that, but they're conceding to it because they don't want to argue it. Now, whether or not they feel that it's irrelevant to the case or not, nobody knows.
Yeah. He said something about they took like 8 months before they even tried to germinate them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it. They would have to germinate them, grow them, then, process it and run testing on it. Are they doing that for cannabis seeds? I don't know.
I doubt it. Okay, let's move on to our guest.
All
right. Who I said is a person who teaches patients about how to make topical creams and so much more. So I'd like to welcome Charlene Freedom to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Charlene. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Doing much better. And thank you for appearing on the show. It's been, actually, when I went through some notes, I see it's been almost a year.
Yeah, it has been, actually.
Yeah, actually, I think it was like November the 16th, 2016 or something last time that Kim had you on the program. So it's always good to get caught up again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me back. It's nice to be invited again.
All right, well, you know the routine here. I'm going to throw you over to Kim so she can get started rolling on the questions, and I'll just join in as we go along.
Okay, great.
Okay, Kim.
Thanks, Al. Hey, Charlene. So great to have you back on the show. You're always such an interesting guest to have. And I mean, nowadays, especially I found in the last year, I think, topicals, non-inhalated medication is really a hot topic these days. Everybody is interested, and that being your forte, I thought, it's time to have Charlene back for sure. It's great to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me back. It's actually really nice to come back on the show and chat with you and catch up.
Awesome to have you. For those out there that may not know Charlene Freedom, she runs Ladies Love Mary Jane. It's a website. She does retreats and teaches people about living right and holistic medicine and all that kind of stuff, and just being one with yourself and living a good life with the help of holistic medications and creams and lotions and potions made from natural remedies and ingredients. You've helped so many people around the Canada and probably internationally. I wouldn't be surprised. Won a lot of awards too. Cannabis cups and so forth along the ways. Products available all over the place. Charlene, you're quite a busy lady.
Yeah, it's been a very busy year since last year. It's been an interesting one too. It's the Ladies Love Mary Jane retreat was something that was kind of sitting in the back of my mind for a long time. Sort of germinating on ideas of how I was going to do it, and then I just decided to go for it. And I put it together in like 2 months, and I was surprised at how much I was able to do in those couple of months. And it was great. We had a fantastic time, and it's been really exciting to see more and more women that are coming out in the cannabis community, not just through the industry. And it's just been great. It's been a fantastic year.
Awesome. I tried to get to the one that was in Toronto there at the same time that I was visiting Toronto, but that tour was damn busy. I couldn't squeeze out the time to make it out, and I'm so sorry for that. But I definitely want to join you on one that you're have more coming up in the spring. Tell us a bit about the retreat. What takes place there?
Well, it's kind of. I mean, it's just like a weekend gathering for women to kind of get away and relax and retreat. Literally, like. My idea really to kind of start this as a retreat weekend was really kind of like after the last couple of years of being in the cannabis industry and meeting so many women that are involved. And it's amazing because so many of these women have serious health issues, they have chronic pain, and they work so hard. And I don't really see a lot of the women that are working in the industry really take time out for themselves. And so I really wanted to start something that was just kind of like let's leave the business at home. Let's just go away and, let's connect and create community and sisterhood and share and get to know each other outside of, everyone trying to be so focused on business. And it was really kind of interesting because only a couple of women that really kind of came that were from the industry. It was all these sort of different women that came out. And when I decided to do it, actually, I started it with a group of women that I used to run my music festival with. I ran a drumming festival for 5 years before I got into the cannabis industry. And so when I approached them and asked them, would you ladies be interested in creating something new? Let's do something completely different from, a drumming festival with 100 to 200 people. Let's keep it something really small and really grassroots. And just let it really kind of come together organically. And they loved the idea. And so we've been working together on, different ideas. The first retreat, like I said, it was just sort of like let's throw it out there and let's see what happens. And my main thing was my main thing was wanting to have some really great entertainment. And so I actually contacted Sandra Battaglini, who's an award-winning comedian, to come out and do a show for us. And she had a fantastic time. And the women really, really enjoyed the comedy as sort of like the highlight of the weekend. It was a lot of fun. We had all kinds of different workshops. Like we had like a bling your own lighter workshop, and all the ladies, so they got to decorate their own lighters with all these different stickers. And then it was kind of interesting because from there they all started like, decorating themselves and putting stickers all over their faces with these really, really creative designs. And it was just, it was a really creative weekend. We had a build your own stash box workshop, so the women actually got to go in and create their own stash box from like cigar boxes.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was a lot of fun. The women really enjoyed it. And there's actually on the location that I had it at, which is called Mansfield Outdoor Center.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful labyrinth. So the women went for like a labyrinth walk. And another thing that's sort of the central piece of the retreat is something called Ladies Love Mary Jane Circle. And it's essentially a peace pipe ritual for women that I kind of ripped off of a Viking drinking ritual. It's the Viking drinking ritual is called a sumbel, and you would pass around a horn full of mead, and the first round of drinking is doing like a drink for your ancestors. The second round is for making boasts, because Vikings love to brag and boast about their accomplishments and their wars that they won and that kind of thing. And the last round is for making oaths. And, that's kind of a little heavy for, women just kind of gathering around in a circle, passing around, a pipe full of pot. So I kind of switched it up. And so the first round is called odes. And essentially that is for, like, anytime you think of, you're talking to somebody on the phone and you're like, okay, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go smoke a joint. And they say, oh, hey, have a toke for me. They that would be a time that you can take a toke for somebody. So that's the first round. It's called odes. And the second round is called bitch. And that's because, I find that cannabis really, really, really helps women to process their emotions. I can't tell you how many times over the last 20 years that I've gotten together with women to, with my girlfriends, I need to smoke a joint and just bitch about what's going on. And then I'm able to release it and let it go and move on. So that's kind of like creating, so that round is really just kind of for women to kind of bitch about something and then let it go. Yeah. And then the very last round is called boast. And that's for each woman to brag and boast about something that she's accomplished. Even if all she has in the moment to say is, I'm awesome. That's the space to do it. So it was actually really, really, this particular, circle and doing it at the retreat was a lot of fun. The women really enjoyed being able to, kind of share, and, we learned a lot about each other through that time, which was, I think, a really cool bonding thing. Trying to think of what else to share about the weekend. It was great.
Oh, I'm looking at pictures and the faces on the women. I mean, everybody you can see the joy. You can see the relaxed. There isn't a tense shoulder in any single pic.
No, we had such a great time. We really did. The women just absolutely loved it, and they loved that it was like just a really like laid back, grassroots, easygoing weekend. There wasn't a lot of work to do. You could wander off into the forest and go for a walk if you wanted to, or you could be right in the heart of whatever workshop was going on at the time. So it gave women a lot of freedom and space to do their own thing too.
Help and make it relaxing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and actually I talked to a mutual friend of ours, Butterfly, who attended the one in September. You had one past September, Charlene? Yeah, and that's what she said. It was relaxing. She had a great time. A lot of camaraderie between the girls, the ladies, and all that. And she's looking forward to what your upcoming ones. From what she had said when I was talking to her. So.
Yeah. She hosted a seed planting workshop for us. So she was actually discussing the process of taking your seeds, starting them, how you germinate them and how you plant them, and then a little bit about how you get them started. And it was fantastic. She's such a great teacher, She really is so animated and colorful. She made all the women laugh, and she made it a really interesting workshop. So I think all of the women that attended and that they sat through learning, and they asked her a lot of questions. And so that was something else that I think, particularly with legalization coming, there's a lot of women that are like, yeah, I wouldn't mind growing a couple of plants at home and being able to have my own thing. But, there's not a lot of information out there. So this was kind of another way to just sort of give a basic introduction without getting too deeply into it. And it was great. She had a fantastic time.
Excellent. I mean, and anybody that's ever seen a doctor about stress, the doctor will tell you take time for yourself. Try and let the small stuff go. Your best thing to do with an issue is, confront the issue, deal with it, let it go. And that's exactly what this entire retreat is prescribing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like women really do need the time out. I remember reading this one article, and it was about women who, over the age of 40 particularly, they prefer to go to massage and spas over, going for a walk with their husbands, for example. Like when they're looking for actually, I need to go relax, they want to go, and they want to go into a space that's actually going to really try and promote that kind of healing energy for them. And I felt like, cannabis is such a creative thing to work with, and it was a really good, way to sort of say, here, be creative, have some fun with it, learn to do some things yourself. And the women, like I said, the women just absolutely loved it, and I was really, really, really happy myself with just how everything came together so organically. It was just great.
Perfect. I mean, the best laid plans will ultimately fail, but when something, like you say, comes together organically like this, it just turns into such a beautiful thing.
Yes, definitely. One of the things that I also think was a great feature was our kitchen, because my kitchen witch, as I call her name is Danny. Hi, Danny, if you're listening. She's amazing. She's an absolutely amazing cook. And she used to be the cook when I was running the festival. And so that was cooking for anywhere up to 250 people I think for 1 year. That was a huge crowd. And she was able to get it done and do an amazing job. And so I invited her back, and she's such an absolutely amazing cook. She did an edibles workshop. And so she was able to really kind of get into the kitchen and show the women, this is what I'm going to be making. So she made, baklava. And, and the women absolutely love learning how to do something like that, and just learning a little bit about the process of how to make your own edibles and how you can have fun with it. It doesn't just have to be making brownies or cookies, right?
Yeah.
And, and the food was just amazing. That was probably, for me personally, that's why, I'm like, Danny, I want you to come back and be my kitchen witch again, because she's got such a great touch with putting, her love into her food, and so the women at the end of the weekend, they were really well fed. They were really, really, really content and relaxed and really happy. And I think having a great kitchen is a really important aspect to the hosting retreat like this. You want to be well fed and well taken care of.
Yeah, you don't want hungry guests, do you?
No, not at all. That's
not at all. No. You've got to have a kitchen. You've got to have, every retreat needs a good kitchen. And I mean, and that's where it's at these days, making the point, a lot of this is, majority of this is medicinal. People are using this because it helps them with something, whether that be, no matter what it is, it helps them in the long run with something. They're using it for a reason. So if we can find ways to consume this, such as you're doing and showing us, creams, tinctures, edibles, incorporating it into our food. So you're not getting wasted. You're getting the medicinal value.
But,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, some people look at it, well, when it goes to eating, they think about trying to get stoned, or, the same thing when they're smoking. But I find myself, I'm infusing food with the coconut oil. That's infused coconut oil, that I just put enough in there, just put a little bit in so that you get the medicinal benefits, but you don't get enough so that you're so stoned you can't function for the day.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's not the goal, I don't think, especially when you're a medicinal patient.
Yeah.
You're looking just to deal with your pain or deal with your, whatever symptoms you're dealing with in the moment, enough so that you can kind of function and move on, right? Like, I know for me, that's my goal is to get as high as I can because, I spent my whole 20s in that state. I don't need that now.
People say,
right.
well, how can you function if you're adding, infused cannabis oil into one or two things during your meals? And I'm sorry, it's not about getting buzzed and stoned. It's just about getting enough to get, so you're getting medicated, so you're getting the benefits out of it. So
how do people function every day taking handfuls of Percodon?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather talk about that later.
Yeah. All right, ladies, it's time for us to take a break.
All right,
and we're going to hear some music by the Hicks. Now, normally the song goes towards with the guest. And, this one sort of does because, we're going to talk about topicals and creams and alternative ways as the show goes on. But, every once in a while, it's just nice to be able to roll a joint, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to hear a song called Roll a Joint. Then after the break, we'll continue our conversation with Charlene Freedom. This is Pace Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.ca. This is Pace Radio Show.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Some old hot knives, but if you're just a rookie, you can burn yourself alive. Roll a joint, take a toke and pass it down the line. Take a puff of that sticky stuff that's bound to blow your mind.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck Seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Roll a joint, take a token, pass it down the line. Take a puff of that sticky stuff, it's bound to blow your mind.
Hey, we're back. We're the Pace Radio Show. We're here on lifestyleradio.ca, but you can also catch us at 420radio.ca, as well as at the Pace Radio Show website, found at pace-online.ca. Talking about live shows, I'd like to remind everybody that the 420 Road shows, these happen during the year. You can catch them at the Lifestyle Radio Spreaker archives, and you can catch all the past stuff where we've done the Green Market, we've done the Karma Cup, we've done Left Expos, Global Marijuana Marches, Cannabis Days. So there's all kinds there. So if you can find us there at the Spreaker website, in our archives, you'll be able to listen to all those shows. And if you can't be there, at least you have a bit of an idea by listening to the program. Tonight, talking about programs, we got our guest, Charlene Freedom, who is a certified natural health practitioner, I believe, is what I understand. And my joint host, Kim Cooper. Kim, I think you got some questions for Charlene on some things that she's got going on. And I'm sure Charlene will correct me if I was wrong. Certified natural health practitioner, Charlene?
Yeah, certified natural health practitioner, yes.
There you go. Super. Good. I'm glad I was right on that one.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I mean, right. When it comes to natural stuff, this is the lady to go to. Charlene, you definitely know all there is to know about, homeopathic remedies that are not all cannabis related. I want to make that very clear. You know about stuff that works that isn't cannabis too.
Yeah, well, I should clarify. I don't actually do homeopathy at all. It's aromatherapy and natural health. So, I specialize specifically in aromatherapy, and then I added cannabis to it when I got my medical prescription.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I kind of fielding some stuff that's going on in social media, so I wanted to clarify that you don't deal with just cannabis, using cannabis therapies. You have you know about all of the herbs and spices and goodies that we need to know about, right?
Yes, of course. Yes, I know a lot about essential oils more so than herbal applications because I'm not an herbalist. So I have a diploma in advanced aromatherapy, phytotherapy, and essentially in my practice, what I will look at is what a client has in the way of different health conditions and cross-reference those with the best essential oils, and then look at creating aromatherapy blends that then can go into products that can be used as treatments, for example, for anxiety when you're on the subway or something. Creating a little aromatherapy oil blend that they can, put a couple drops in a Kleenex or in the palm of their hand to smell. And from there, like I said, that aromatherapy blend will go into several different products. So be it creams, be it bath salts, massage oils, as I said, aromatherapy blends that they can use in a diffuser. It all depends on what the client really needs, and but that's kind of how my practice sort of started. Originally, I was creating all of these blends specifically for massage and aromatherapy, but I no longer do massage or aromatherapy. So, that was kind of initially my focus was I wanted to be able to treat people and their pain and get them in the most zen state possible, because I believe that's where true healing really happens. It's not when people are running around trying to do a million different things. It's when they're able to come into a state of like deep relaxation, sort of inner peace. And I found that the combination of massage or reflexology along with aromatherapy and some gentle music in the background really helps to create this amazing zen space for people. And so that was kind of like my initial practice. As I said, I no longer do massage or reflexology, but so now my practice is primarily like, consulting with clients to see what kind of conditions that they're trying to treat, and then if they're medical cannabis patients, what we can use in the way of their medicine into what products. And if sometimes people need customized blends, they're allergic to cocoa butter, or they're allergic to shea butter, or one specific oil that I may have in my normal products. So I also do custom blending and combining for people as well, and offer compounding services to patients that are looking to have someone make products for them. They are in too much pain, or they're too tired, or they just have too much going on, and they just want someone to do it for them. So they will hire me.
Wow. And like I said at the start of the show, you are one busy lady. You are just all over the map, and it's all patient-oriented, all for helping people find relief from whatever their symptoms are in a more natural method, without the use of chemicals and dangerous, narcotic prescriptions and that sort of thing. Yes.
I went to the Institute of Aromatherapy, and my teacher, her name is Jan Benham. She was the first person to really start an aromatherapy college here in Toronto, in Canada. And that's her specialty, was like going from learning how to make essentially toxic chemical cosmetics, to wanting to create all natural products. And so she's really, honestly, she's the one who's done all that initial research and all that work. And but I was lucky enough to be able to go and study with her while she was still living here in Canada. And she's no longer here. She's now moved to the Netherlands and only comes back to Canada once a year. So I feel really blessed. I actually got to be in the college at the time, and so nothing that I use in the way of products has any chemicals in it whatsoever. It's completely natural. I try to get as close to organic as I possibly can, and try to use all organic ingredients. And I also try to, limit the use of any kind of base of any kind of like animal based waxes or oils. So something like beeswax, for example, I only use for balms, but even that, I will switch that out for other types of wax that you can use, so that if you're dealing with a client who is truly vegan and they don't want anything that's has any kind of animal anything in it, I'm able to actually create that for them. So
awesome! Wow.
Yeah.
You have so many products. I'm looking at some of them right now. CBD isolate is available. The double magic cream, sensual massage oil, suppositories, which we are going to get into in depth because I know people want to hear about those. The magic bath salts, the magic cream. The products are amazing, and all of these are all natural. Now, these ones that we're talking about now, they are infused with cannabis.
Yes, everything is infused with cannabis.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the only product that I offer that isn't really infused with cannabis. I mean, I do make obviously all products that are not infused with cannabis, but in the end,
yeah. In the end, they are right, and I mean, that's what patients are looking for as an alternative to pharmaceutical products. It's for patients looking for a more natural route. Now suppositories. Lots and lots of talk about suppositories these days. There's been a lot of debate in the medical industry as well as in the community from individuals test mixed results and anecdotal results on the use of making suppositories using coconut oil. Many people swear by it. They say this is going to help. It's going to do what it needs to be done. There's been some, amateur type testing done where people have made their own coconut oil suppositories and then gone for blood work to find out what their levels are. So whether or not the cannabinoids are actually reaching the bloodstream and putting the cannabinoids into your bloodstream required to treat something such as cancer, which requires the cannabinoids to be in your bloodstream, do you believe that cannabis suppositories with coconut oil work?
That's a good question. I personally can't say that they don't. I honestly can't say that. What I do know is that I originally started out experimenting with cannabis coconut oil, and I found that for me, it's more comes from a production space of like what's easiest to work with and what's going to absorb easiest without causing any kind of sort of internal issues, whether it's irritating the internal tissues. So for me, I would say that the cannabis coconut oil suppositories do work, but the issue with them is that they melt very quickly. They melt in heat immediately. So they have to be frozen, which can be uncomfortable. For some people, they actually enjoy the soothing of it being cold. So what I actually did last year over the winter was I did essentially like a suppository testing with like 15 women who were medical patients, and I tried out 4 different formulations on them and got them to record their feedback. What they noticed was the difference with using all 4 different formulations, from whether it helped to increase their libido, whether it helped their pain, whether it helped them to relax, whether it helped them sleep, even right down to if to help them with anxiety. And pretty much across the board, all the women came back. And, it was kind of interesting with some of the feedback, because I also found for some of the women, like their preferred method of absorption of cannabis, for example, like if they like to eat edibles, if they prefer using like a butter base, for example, would be something that would be more effective for them in using like a cocoa butter base for the suppositories. So if somebody really, really likes distillate, like I tried it with like distillate, I tried it with RSO. I tried it with just infused cocoa butter. I tried a bunch of different recipes, sort of playing around with them. And the thing I found that was the most effective, it had the most positive feedback, was the Rick Simpson oil combined into cocoa butter. All of the women generally came back and said that was the one that was the most effective for their pain. It was the most effective for helping them to relax and sleep at night. So yeah, it was an interesting experiment, and interesting to see how, like I said, there was like one woman who, her preferred method of consuming cannabis is using distillate, and a suppository that had distillate, and that was the most effective for her. So that was a really, really interesting sort of feedback, because again, cannabis is so individual for everyone, right? So I found that really sort of interesting. I also found for packaging purposes, using cocoa butter is a lot easier. And, as you know, I often do like different festivals through the summer, and you don't want to be handing out something that's like, it's completely liquid in a shell because it's 80 degrees outside kind of thing. And so the cocoa butter is way more effective when it comes to packaging as well, I found. So I hope that helps to answer.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and like you say, everybody's different. We're all different. We all react differently to different methods of ingestion and different amounts. Yes, absolutely. So it also depends on what you're trying to treat as well. Like the amount of dosing of how much cannabinoids that you would want to get in there if you're trying to treat cancer is obviously very different from someone who is just trying to deal with PMS. Right.
PMS and cramping, for example. So, really, I think it also, like, it primarily depends on going back to your question about cannabinoids going into the bloodstream, I think it really has to do with how much you actually have in the suppository. And the other interesting thing that I've discovered through sort of researching on suppositories is that someone can actually, a person can actually consume a higher dosage of cannabinoids through a suppository than they can actually through ingestion. I found that really interesting as well. So if you're trying to treat somebody that's got cancer and they're at stage 4, that's something that you want to have a high amount, but you have to work up to that slowly. Yeah. So hang on just one second. I'm having a bit of a hard time with my phone.
Yeah, no problem. Many patients out there are dealing with this issue. The testing that I referred to about it, the cannabinoids showing up in the bloodstream, that was, non-scientific testing. That was just, a guy at home. He says he took all the right steps and, he stopped using all medications for 2 weeks. Then he did his little unscientific test, went for blood work, and the results are da-da-da-da-da. So, it was a very unscientific test. So, a lot of questions are in the data. What kind of suppositories did he use? Did he decarb first? How much medication was put in to each suppository? How strong, a million questions there that need to be answered. So it's just a lot of people, it is on for discussion on whether or not the coconut oil actually penetrates the membrane to allow the delivery of the cannabinoids the same as, say, your butter does.
I don't know.
It's a large debate.
I don't know how much or how often or if all the infused suppositories are based off of coconut oil or not, but there's a lot of people who find benefit from them, so there must be something there that works.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I say too. I'm an advocate for them. I'm not ashamed to say it. I use suppositories on a daily basis. It's a method of ingestion that helps. You don't get the euphoria from the cannabis that you get if I was to swallow the same amount of coconut oil through my stomach. I will get stoned. If I use it as a suppository, I do not.
I would have to agree with that. It's not passing through the liver in the same way, so it doesn't have the same psychoactive effect as if you're ingesting it, right?
Because it changes when it goes through the liver. It changed to delta 11 from a delta 9.
Yes.
And it's much stronger.
Yeah, so say it's like 5 times more powerful than if you're smoking it, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So by using the suppositories, like you say, it's not going through the liver; it's just going into the bloodstream, so you don't get that.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
so
right,
that would also be.
Medicinal. I'm still getting the medicinal. I'm still getting the pain relief. I'm still getting relaxed enough so I can fall asleep at night. All of those things still take place.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, really, like the question for you would be, is it something that's that you've personally ever had any issues with it affecting like your internal like tissues? Because that's one question that's been posed to me several times is like, is this going to be something that's going to irritate the vaginal tissues or the rectal tissues? And I personally have never had anybody come back and say that, but I do know that like coconut oil, like it has such high lipid content, and the cannabinoids bind like so perfectly to those particular lipids to be absorbed. And essentially, I can't speak so much for the rectum, but for the vaginal tissues are almost identical to the same tissues that we have in our mouth. So the absorption is, if you were to put a little bit of cannabis-infused coconut oil and not actually swallow it, you'd still absorb it through through the tissues in your mouth. It just wouldn't have necessarily the same as if you were like taking a whole teaspoonful, for example. It just so the absorption still happens. It's just, I think the difference, particularly as you were saying for this article that came out, I do remember reading it, and that was one of the questions that I had was, well, how much like how much medicine was actually in the suppository, and does this person actually know how to dose it properly? And on top of that, were they also, going to do a test to see how much THC and how much cannabinoids actually showed up in the bloodstream if they were to ingest the same amount from, through just, absorbing it through swallowing it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I found kind of interesting. It's like you say, it's not a very scientific study. It's just sort of, oh, look, I did all this testing and then nothing showed up. But, I'm not a doctor or a scientist.
It piqued the conversation for many. This has been a large debate in the industry and abroad, for a long time on whether or not coconut oil is a good delivery system. There's advocates and pro and con.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I mean, if you're definitely just like looking to do something for yourself at home, and you can make your own suppositories like out of like even small ice cube trays and just freeze them. You know what I'm saying? You can do something as simple as that to medicate yourself. But if you're really looking for something that's going to have a bit more of a kick, then it's a good thing to have an idea of a little bit to know a bit more about how to combine, particularly depending on which medium you're using. But I do think that cannabis infused coconut oil works really well. It's just I don't think it has the same level of medicinal value as if you were using RSO, for example.
Right. Because today, in today's world, for patients, with cost and everything else and the education that is out there, everybody owns one or knows someone that has a magical butter machine. And everybody's got recipes online about how to make this, how to make that. So people are running around making their own infusions a lot and medications. And, like me, I am one of them. I own up wholeheartedly. I follow recipes and I try stuff all the time with my machines, and I love it. But really, for somebody that's a novice that gets into this and then they make their meds, if you're using it as a medicine to cure something, you can be doing yourself not very much good if you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Which is why I teach classes for people to learn how to medicate for themselves. I don't teach suppositories, but I do touch on it a little bit in my infusions class. Basically, this is a simple steps if you want to learn how to make your own. If you're looking for, treating something really, really, really specific, then that's where I would recommend that you, work with someone, even if it's, whether it's your doctor or it's a nurse practitioner, someone to help you with figuring out the proper dosing, or contact me, But again, I will always say over and over, I'm not a doctor by any means. I'm not a nurse. I'm not medical at all. I do know a lot about health. I do know a lot about how to treat various health conditions naturally. But it's complementary care. In no way could you substitute what I do for traditional, pharmaceutical, or actually seeing a doctor when you really need to. Yeah. So when it comes to the science of it, I can't say that a specific dose of RSO is what a person who's suffering from third stage cancer or fourth stage cancer should start with. It's something that I always say to them that it's best to experiment for yourself and figure out what works for you, or work with somebody to help start at a really, 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 really low amount and gradually introduce it into the body, and the body will build the endocannabinoid receptors to be able to accept more and more cannabinoids the more that you introduce it. Yeah. So that's another thing I've also found really interesting, is people are able to tolerate more as they go on. Yeah. Whereas, a very small dose in the very beginning of treating could be something that, really kind of puts them to sleep for a day or two. Yeah. On what you're doing, right? So.
Especially when it comes to baked goods.
Yeah. But that's the science behind it. I love that you touched on that. By introducing it slowly, people don't think you're building a tolerance. It's not really a tolerance. Your endocannabinoid system is growing and is able to accept more. That is so well said. I love that.
Thank you. Well,
We'll have
it's
to
interesting because that's even true with topicals. So I've had several times where I've had different clients over the last couple of years who have said that the first time that they put the cream on, my magic cream, and they say, oh, it really didn't do that much for me. But then I tried it again an hour later, and it, within a minute, or the next day that they'll try it again, and they'll notice that within a really, really, like a minute to 5 minutes, all of a sudden they're like, wow, that actually worked. Whereas sometimes the first time that they use it, it may take anywhere up to 45 minutes to an hour, and then all of a sudden they notice, oh, yeah, my pain is a little bit lower. So I was kind of stuck on that. I was kind of like, I don't understand that. It's like the same thing that happens if people try a joint for the first time. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, wait a minute, that's what it is. Is you have to build the receptors. You have to signal the body to build the receptors to accept more cannabinoids. But when you first introduce it, it doesn't seem to matter where on the body until you, when you first introduce it, you have to signal your body to build those receptors so that it can accept more cannabis. So that's the same thing. Like a lot of times people smoke a joint the first time. Even the first 2 times, it doesn't really have a big effect on them. And then the next time that they use it, all of a sudden they're like, wow, I'm so high right now.
Yeah, I've heard people say that they smoked some and they never got no effect from it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they did, and you're building the receptors to accept the cannabinoids. It makes perfect sense when you think about it.
All right, ladies.
It's something when you think of topicals, you don't think that that's something that's a way that the body's going to react. So, like I said, it was kind of one of those things in the beginning. I was like, I don't get it, and then when I kind of put it together, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's about the body needs to signal to create more receptors to be able to accept more and to be more effective at a quicker rate. So that was really, really interesting, and it's something I continue to hear from people. They say, oh, the first time, it took half an hour, it took an hour, and the next time, oh my God, it's like a minute, and oh my God, my pain was gone. So that's been really interesting to hear as a consistent state of feedback that I get from my clients. So, just, again, I can't prove that scientifically and say I've done a study. It's just that's what I've observed.
Yeah. And that's good that you get feedback from your customers as well, because that helps you with what you're creating.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. It's really interesting. Even some of my clients that I've had for a year or 2 years. It's funny how they have noticed. They've even commented to me about changing my recipe or was using a different wax that I had ordered. Thought, I'll try out this wax, and it was actually really amazing how many clients came back and said, "Did you change the recipe?" It was
they
really
noticed.
surprising.
All right, ladies, it's break time. Head off to pay our bills here. And we're going to hear a little bit more of the music from the Hicks with Roll a Joint. And then when we return, we'll continue our conversation with Charlene Freedom. You're listening to Pace Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.ca and .net. You're listening to Pace Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.ca and .net.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Roll a joint, take a toke, pass it down the line. Take a puff of that sticky stuff, it's bound to blow your mind.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
CTCP now operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Fatties when I'm grooving, roaches when I'm dry, killers when I'm hard up, and sweet buds when I die.
Everybody left?
Yeah. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're ready to go again. We are live here at lifestyleradio.ca, but you can also catch us at Shoutcast, TuneIn Radio, as well as over at Spreaker. Tonight's bumper music was by the BC band known as the Hicks. Tonight's song was Roll a Joint. And if you enjoyed this song and want to hear more of the music, which they have plenty of, believe me, there's lots there, then I suggest that you put lots of music. Tonight on the show, we have our guest, certified natural health practitioner and cannabis infusion expert, Charlene Freedom, as well as my joint host, Kim Cooper. Well, Kim, Charlene, we're in the last segment. We got about 20 minutes before we got to finish everything up.
Yeah.
So let's go at her.
Yeah, time flying by again. It always does when we have such great and interesting guests. It just flies by. I tell you.
And you know what? And I'm sure you agree with this, Kim, is quite often you hear, wow, 90 minutes. Have I got enough to talk about for 90 minutes?
Almost every show.
and then you find out, geez, you know, I should have talked about this, or I could have talked about that.
There's always stuff that was missed and forgotten.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. That's why we always have to have our guests come back, like Charlene, right?
That's the plan, right? They don't.
All right, where are we going now?
Well, we've exhausted suppositories. I think
right.
we're good.
I think we have to.
Next big thing that I think a lot of people are talking about is the isolates that are out. There are THC isolates and CBD isolates now. This is kind of a brand new form. Talk to us about those.
I actually can't. I don't actually have anything to do with isolates, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, when you first mentioned CBD isolate, I was like, where is she getting that from? Because I don't actually work with it. And I haven't had a chance to really experiment with it. So I think that's something that, like, it's something definitely I want to explore it. My understanding is isolate is a lot stronger, than THC itself. But I'm not, like I said, I don't know enough about it to actually speak on it. So I want to be honest about that.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Absolutely.
And we appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, for sure. I looked at the webpage where some of your products are sold, and that is actually beside one of your creams, and I didn't realize it was a different company. My bad. My bad. Completely my bad. Okay, so then slap my wrist. But hey, but bath salts. I have an actual a client of mine that used a bath bomb that I got in the Karma Cup kit. There was a bath bomb, and I gave it to a friend, and she was the one that tried it for me, and now she's fallen in love with infused bath salts and bath bombs. A lot of people like that, eh?
Oh, yes. Actually, yeah, it's a really, really, really popular product, particularly for women, but a lot of men really like it, too. I have actually several men clients who use the bath salts at the end of a long day at work, because it's one thing that actually really helps to break down the tension and lactic acid. Especially men who, have hard labor jobs and they're doing construction or landscaping or whatever. And, at the end of the day, they want to relax too. And it's something that really, really, really does help. Not just from the perspective of, like if you have Epsom salts in there, it's got magnesium, and magnesium helps to relax the muscles. It helps to detoxify the body, but also the combination of the aromas, the salts, and then the warm water, it really, really, really helps to relax and de-stress people, as well as detoxifying. And then they get up, and most people like to use it better at nighttime because it helps them sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know my daughter-in-law, she's a big bath salts person.
Yeah.
She's always posting pictures about them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's one of the things I found that, for me personally, like, years before I ever even got into combining salts with cannabis, it was one of the best treatments for me personally for dealing with anxiety and depression and, ongoing issues with osteoarthritis. I got diagnosed with osteoarthritis when I was like 31 years old in my neck, and had two degenerated discs. And so there'd be times that, like, my neck would spasm out and I wouldn't be able to turn my head, and I'd be in so much pain.
Yeah.
And there are times, as I say, like, cannabis only does so much unless you're really getting into like high-powered edibles. And at that point in my life, all I was doing was smoking. And so, being introduced into aromatherapy and how that can actually be used as a regular treatment for health conditions, I really kind of, got right into developing different types of bath salts, not just for when I would really want to relax my muscles, but when I was in a lot of pain. But also when I was depressed, because I have seasonal affective disorder as well. So the winters kill me, and so that's where I'll be looking for aromatherapy oils and, bath therapy that's going to help to energize me, it's going to help to lift my spirits, lift my mood. So that's something that I, being able to add cannabis into something like that and create different treatments for different reasons. True bath therapy is just for myself. It's been really, it's been an interesting journey, definitely. And I really, really love a lot of the feedback that I get from different clients to say, oh my God, I had the best sleep ever, or, I had pain in my back for weeks. And then I went in and I had a bath with just a couple of tablespoons of your bath salts, and I felt a million times better. Or, this cramp in my leg or in my knee finally went away.
Yeah.
So it's, and I think it's also, it brings, again, coming back to, the state of healing. When people are really relaxed, that's when really the healing state happens. So trying to create a therapy that helps people to bring themselves into that state on their own, I think is also really empowering and it's really good for them.
Well, that's why they say you heal when you sleep, because that's when you're most relaxed, is when you're asleep. So if you can create that relaxed environment in your waking time, then you're promoting healing.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure, absolutely. And microdosing like this, you're not getting the euphoria, you're just getting the medicinal benefits. So the relaxation, the pain relief, the stress relief, the muscle relaxations, all of that, along with the aromatherapy portion of it. Medicinal aspects are happening to your body, not your mind.
Yes. Yeah, it's aromatherapy is it's really powerful because it's the aromas that go in through your nose and up through your olfactory nerves and stimulate, and that's like the most direct link to your brain. So it has the ability to change your mood instantly. In excuse me, in Europe, I believe, in France, one of the things that they use for treating hysteria when someone comes into a hospital and they're really, 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 really overly excited, in a state of true hysteria and can't calm down. They use something like neroli oil to try and help bring them down out of it. So, and cannabis itself has, as you know, has so many terpenes, and those aromas as well also have a powerful effect. When you combine those with other essential oils, it really is like this magic formula, for affecting change really quickly.
What do you find?
Sorry?
The people who use your products, do you find that most people use it for pain? Do people use it for, psoriasis? I guess it's like psoriasis or eczema, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even that's one of the things that I do is customizing products for clients who have psoriasis and eczema. But as a general product, one of the things I recommend the most for my clients is the cannabis salves that I make. And a lot of people will go for things like ointments or balms for psoriasis and eczema, and that's not actually a correct thing to use. You don't want to create a protective layer over the skin. You want something that's going to absorb and nourish and moisturize the skin, because you're dealing with really dry skin that's itchy, it's flaking. Yeah. You want to soothe that. You want to soothe the inflammation down. So I try to introduce products, that have cocoa butters and shea butters in them, because that's actually one of the best ways to soothe states like that. I definitely would say I have a broad range of why clients will use my products. I have some clients who specifically order, to order a liter of bath salts off of me that are blended with specific oils for their psoriasis or for their eczema, because it's the only thing that works for them, as opposed to using a balm or a salve or a cream or any other kind of topical products. They don't want that. They just want something that's going to they can hop in the bath and it's still going to treat that. So I found that really interesting. I have actually a few different clients that will order larger amounts of products from me, customized because they have something like psoriasis, or they have rashes, or they have extreme sensitivities. So they really want to make sure that they know what's going into their products. Yeah. And beyond that, I would also say I really have a real range of clients. So I do have clients who contact me with cancer. And, I tell them I'll assist you, but in no way am I a doctor. I can't, in any way treat cancer. That's not my role at all. Yeah. And I can assist you with helping you to help yourself, talk to your doctor, blah, blah. But
relieve symptoms.
But I also have I have several epilepsy clients that use my products, post seizures. And as a way of sort of kind of keeping their whole nervous system kind of calm. And when you think of it after you have a seizure, it's like running a 10-kilometer marathon in under a minute. So the muscles really, like, they become stiff as rocks and they're extremely painful. The whole body is, becomes extremely stiff. So being able to use a treatment like a cannabis-infused bath salt, with massage oil that you can rub on before you get into the bath, and it really helps to break that down and relieve the pain and inflammation fairly quickly. And then when you get out, you can rub cream on yourself. And so I've actually had quite an interesting round of feedback based on epilepsy clients using topicals as well. But I'd say on average, generally it's just chronic pain, and it doesn't even matter like what condition it's coming from. It seems to be a general thing that everybody wants help with that, and they don't want to take pharmaceuticals. They don't want to rot out their stomach. They don't want to be incapacitated from different medications that their doctors are offering them. And I mean, I also have several addicts as well, recovering addicts or alcoholics who use my products. Again, for the same reason, they go to the doctors, and doctors say, "Oh, here, we'll take, gabapentin or take Lyrica, but it's not addictive." But okay, but what about the side effects?
Yeah,
it has very similar side effects to benzodiazepines.
Yeah.
And or you're dealing with people who have like stomach problems; they just can't take pharmaceuticals. Yeah. So how can you help them outside of that traditional sort of model?
A lot of people are trying to get away from, here's the pill. Just take a pill, because, I mean, if we followed that logic with our doctors, the majority of the population would be taking handfuls every day.
I think the majority of the population knows. They go to their doctors. They trust their doctors.
For everything, right? Don't use a cream or a balm, or maybe eat right, or, worry about the other nutritional values that are going on in your life, and looking at other aspects of your life. Just take this pill. And you
take this pill. Yeah, exactly.
And life goes on.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me in my 20s, and by the time I got into 28, 29, I was on a cocktail of like 12 different medications. And, after being on medications for that many years, your body becomes toxic. And along with your body becoming toxic, your mental health becomes toxic.
It does.
So, I had like a real, breakdown and crash. And I think that a huge part of that was just because my body was like toxic and had been for, a couple of years from just the amount of medication I was taking on a daily basis, and like so supplementary medication.
Yeah, it's so sad, that is such a familiar story. It is entirely too sad, the amount of times we have heard this on the air. Me, personal experience, exact same thing. I don't know how many guests. A lot of you are guests that have been on the show, that are helping patients now, like yourself. You've become, certified in what you do. You've gotten the education. You're passing that education on to others and individuals. You're educating people. You're providing a product that works, that is an alternative to taking these harmful toxins that are being given to us hand over fist, and it all stems from necessity, because you went.
Yeah, absolutely. Necessity is a mother of invention, and I would say that's the truth for me, because I can't take opiates, I can't take a lot of medications that my doctor would offer me. And even recently, I, had issues with my stomach, so it's like something like anti-inflammatories I can't even really use anymore. And and that's how like I turned to topicals, because it was like, how can I get this medicine into me in a different way and treat my own pain? And it's something that's really helped me, and because it's really helped me, I think it's something that's really authentic for people when they speak to me, when they find out about my story, and it really resonates with them.
And like you say, when you come from, and you finally wake up out of the vicious cycle, when you have a moment of clarity during the vicious cycle of taking all those pharmaceuticals that your beloved doctor has given you, and you trusted his word and you took them, and it's doing all of this damage to your body and everything, you have that one moment of clarity and you kind of wake up and you say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And you start making the attempts to stop. The last thing you want to do is find a product that's going to put you back in that fog.
Yeah,
that's not the goal.
Yeah, that's been a part of my my story for like the last 16, 17 years. Because anytime I had to deal with major health issues, like in my car accident, which I've spoken to you guys about in the past. I had been clean at that point for 11 years, and all of a sudden, I'm in the hospital with broken bones and recovering from a major accident and back on morphine, and being told you're going to be on, narcotics for a minimum of 2 months, and then we'll slowly wean you down off them again. And so I was at really, really, really high risk for addiction, to fall back into devastating addiction, and I knew that. And so for me, like, that was really like, it was absolutely necessary to advocate for myself and to know myself well enough to know, okay, like, I need to actually reach out, I need support, I need help. And I knew at that point cannabis was the one medicine that worked for me, but many people don't. They get caught up in this crazy cycle, and
yeah. Now we have a great big opiate epidemic across North America.
Well, it's the go-to drug, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But you know what? The one thing I will say is, there's absolute value in having those opiates. Like, the scary thing to me is the idea that we would end up in a situation that doctors all of a sudden aren't prescribing opiates for people who are in extreme pain.
Yeah.
Like, I know back in December, I herniated a lower disc in my lower back, and I had to take OxyContin because there was nothing else strong enough at that point. And I was only on it for about maybe 7 to 10 days. But thank God for the medication, because at that point, like, I was in so much pain, edibles weren't going to do it for me. And
we're seeing that already with fentanyl, this fentanyl epidemic and the crisis that we're having. Prescribed patients that are legally prescribed and using this as the last resort. This is the only thing that controls the pain. They are being scrutinized and, looked at as junkies. And these are legitimate patients, in chronic severe pain. And that's their only lifeline, is using, this little patch, and they're using it correctly. They're not the ones that are being bad, and they're being scrutinized.
No, that's right.
It's not right.
It's a kind of, I know, it's a real double-edged sword, because on one hand you have doctors who write. Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't think that it's anyone's fault if they get addicted to opiates, because the truth is, the nature of what opiates are like, the way that they combine to your molecular structure when you're taking them, it's something that just physically happens. It's not that the person is suddenly a junkie, and unfortunately, when you go into a doctor and say, okay, I've been taking this medication for 2 months or 6 months because I've been, I've needed this kind of level of chronic pain management, but now I want to come off of it. All of a sudden, it goes from being a medication that you're being given for pain and you're being treated respectfully as a patient to, oh, well, now you're a junkie because you're addicted.
Yeah.
And I think that's a horrible, horrible space for people to be in when they're going in asking for help. And as I said, like, I've been there. I know what that's like. And it really is a difficult process to get through. So I really feel for patients who are going through this, and
that's why I'm glad. That's why I'm glad.
That's why
I'm glad I looked at it as I had a choice. If your doctor prescribed cannabis or prescribed opiates, and I took the cannabis and never had the opiates prescribed to me. So,
yeah.
All right, ladies. We're at the end of the show. I have one. Huh?
See how fast that was?
Yeah, that's right. We can keep going too. I have one quick question for Charlene before we get into the shoutouts. You got any upcoming events where people will be able to find you?
Well, yes. I'm actually going to be teaching a workshop at Green Valley Wellness, which has just opened up in Whitby earlier this summer. Yeah. And that's going to be on December 2nd. Excuse me. And then I'll be teaching my class series again at a Mary's Apothecary on January 14th and January 21st. The registration has just opened up for that. The classes I'm doing actually on November 5th and November 12th sold out like a couple of weeks before the classes are even happening. So we've already started booking for January. And then,
nice.
Yeah, and then the next major thing is Ladies Love Mary Jane Retreat. It's going to be happening February 2nd to 4th in 2018. So I'm really excited about those upcoming events. And I do believe there's going to be another workshop booked with Women Grow Toronto for Women Grow Toronto members as well. So I've been in talks with Antoinette about that. And yeah.
Yeah,
busy lady. Busy lady, man.
Busy.
I tell you, she's everywhere.
Okay, and now the shout out. You got a shout out, person, place, thing, website. Where people can find your products, so on and so forth.
Well, yeah. People can always find me on Facebook, right? I have a Facebook page, and then I do have my website, charlenefreedom.com, that is still currently under construction, but I'm going to be relaunching that hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and yeah.
Where's your products at now? So your website's under construction. So you've got.
I know products are available at cannaworld.ca.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
You
can find them at Canna World, and Bloom High Tea Social Club is another one that carries my products as well. So yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. Kim?
Yeah, tonight my shout out is going to my friend Dana Larson. Dana, my friend, you have been an advocate for the cause for a very, very long time. You're a man of the people, for the people, that is for sure. My dear friend, I love you dearly. I'm with you in court and spirit. I can't be with you in person. I am with you in spirit. I hope that this comes back favorable for you in the short term, so that you do not have to return to court. Anybody out there that wants to support Dana Larson, give him a shout out on his Facebook page, or go to the overgrowcanada.ca site and give him some support for his cause right now in court.
There you go. And you never know, after he gets done on his court cases, he may appear on the show again.
I hope so. I know he's a very busy man right now.
That's
and he hasn't been able to come on. But my heart is with you, hon, and I understand, and I'm with you, and I'm here when you're ready.
All right. Okay. I will be back next Wednesday with Alicia and her guests. You can find the Pace Radio Show on Facebook. We're on Twitter as Pace Radio. Instagram as the Pace Radio Show. We can be found on the web at pace-online.ca. And thank you tonight, as always, BMA folks, the BMA Hydroponics, the folks there. They're at bmahydroponics.com. Cannabis Seed Wholesaler, CC Nexus. They're at ccnexus.global. Al Rapp, our producer, we always got to throw a big thank you to him. And a big thank you to you, our guest, certified natural health practitioner, Charlene Freedom. Thank you, Charlene, for coming back on the program. And we'll have to have you back again in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
It's awesome.
Yes, we always enjoy talking with you.
Always goes by so fast.
It does. We're already over time. And thank you to you, Kim. Thanks for everything you do. Really appreciate the help with the promotion and stuff of the program. And to our listeners, we always appreciate them as well. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.